Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel. My name is Mike. I'm continuing my 2014 NFL playoff previews, and this video is for the NFC Championship game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. This game will take place up in Seattle, who advanced to the NFC Championship game by way of beating the New Orleans Saints 23-15 at home in the divisional round, and the San Francisco 49ers by way of beating the Carolina Panthers 23-10, advanced to now play their third straight road playoff game up in Seattle. And these two teams with plenty of history, whether it's the two head coaches who from their college days absolutely can't stand each other, or the rivalry that now has brought itself to the pro level in which these two teams have split the previous 4 games they've played, both teams winning and holding serve on their home field. And this is a game that if you listen to this channel, you know all season long I've been saying I think these two teams are the best two teams in football, and I think it's only fitting that they get to slug it out here in the NFC Championship game. And, I'll start with San Francisco first and foremost. And, if you're San Francisco and you're a San Francisco fan, you're going to point to the fact that, well, we didn't really have Michael Crabtree, or we didn't have Michael Crabtree for either game versus the Seahawks, and that's got to count for something. I would agree with that the Crabtree influence is going to be significant. We'll see how Seattle comes out and plays for the 49ers with Crabtree in the mix. But you have to remember, to go into Seattle and think the way you're going to win is by passing the ball first, okay, I think is a tough way to go about things. You're going to have KJ Wright back in the fold for the Seahawks. I look for him to play Vernon Davis, and for Richard Sherman to cover Crabtree. We'll see if they come up with any variation of that on the defensive side of the ball. Dan Quinn and company, I'm certain we'll have some new wrinkles, but look for that to take place. I think for the 49ers, and if you want to beat the Seahawks, and we saw this in spurts from the Saints, okay, but you have to be physical, and you have to be able to beat them at the point of attack and be physical with them running the football and not turn the ball over so you're in a position where you're playing catch-up. That's what dooms teams when they go up to Seattle. If you look, teams are able sometimes to run the ball, all right, on that Seattle front seven. But they get behind, they turn the ball over, and they put themselves in situations where they have to abandon a run. So that's a key thing, I think, for Frank Gore and company. If you remember the game at San Francisco, Gore had just shy of 100 yards, had that big 51-yard run towards the end of the game. That's the kind of offense you need from the 49ers. Keep it close. Put Kaepernick in manageable down and distances, because, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up how poor Colin Kaepernick has played in his 2 games in Seattle in his career. I mean, the one earlier this year seems like it was lifetimes ago in week 2, but he did turn the ball over 4 times, 3 interceptions, and 1 lost fumble. So, all eyes will be on Kaepernick. He's looked great in pretty much in every playoff game he's played. He's looked the part, looked like a dominant player. But now going to Seattle, there will be some question marks whether he can get it done. We'll see if he can. Does Crabtree being back in the mix, Bolden now, all right, being a force, obviously, like he was last week in the Panthers game, and of course Vernon Davis, does that give him the extra, the extra weaponry and the extra, onus to have a good game up there? We'll see. Okay, from a defensive standpoint for the 49ers, it's about stopping the run. They've done a good job with that in both games as far as limiting Marshawn Lynch to under 4 yards per carry. That needs to continue. And if you look at things from a Seattle point of view, Russell Wilson, that offense, they need to get more out of that offense than they got versus the Saints, because then you're totally relying on that Seattle defense to force turnovers and make plays. And again, I think that could be a dangerous way to live versus the 49ers, whose offense is coming into this game playing very well. I know history says they haven't played well in Seattle, but they're coming off of a pretty good performance offensively against a good defense in Carolina. So Russell Wilson being able to put points on the board, being able to cash red zone drives in for touchdowns, and of course Seattle getting Marshawn Lynch involved early and often is an absolute key to their offense. They got Percy Harvin for games like this. I think his status could be crucial in this one as well. For both these teams, it's very hard to sustain long, time-consuming drives against very good defenses. That's why I think big plays and whoever makes that big play, like Gore's 51-yard run in San Francisco, like the turnovers the Seattle defense forced on Kaepernick in week 2. Those are going to be the kinds of plays that decide this game. And it'll be interesting to see what players come to the forefront and make those plays. That's what these playoff games are really all about. And Seattle, on the defensive side of the ball, their pass defense is absolutely stifling. I would be surprised if Kaepernick goes in there with a pass-first game plan and is able to gain any traction. I truly think, Seattle, whether it's the waves of pass rushes they throw at you, led by Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett, or whether it's Bobby Wagner, who was magnificent against the Saints, particularly in the screen game and busting up 3 drives pretty much all by himself, or obviously that secondary, which may be one of the best secondaries that I've seen since I've been watching football in the last 20, 25 years. I think man for man, they are, as a matter of fact. Again, it would be interesting to see the matchups, who's on Crabtree, who's on Davis, and overall, that Seattle defense leads the league in takeaways. Are they able to force turnovers on San Francisco like they have been in the past at home? Again, I would say normally any other team going into Seattle is not going to know what to expect. That San Francisco knows what to expect. We'll see, however, if they come in a little bit more prepared than they have the last couple times they've been in there and make better decisions. Because certainly they're going to need to get better play out of Kaepernick, and I think Seattle's going to have to get a better game out of that offense as a whole, all right, to be able to score points against the 49ers, who I look to really focus on taking away Marshawn Lynch and let Doug Baldwin beat you. Let Golden Tate beat you. Let Zach Miller beat you. Those names are not going to scare you if you're Vic Fangio, and I don't blame him. But again, will they be in the game enough to be able to really showcase that defense? Can San Francisco not turn the ball over? Big deal. Can Seattle get anything going on offense passing the ball? 2 very big keys to this game. And obviously the pass rushes from both teams, potent and important as well. This game, I have a feeling, is going to come down to that special teams play, to the team that forces the big turnover, and vice versa to the team that sort of is not able to sustain long drives, the team that makes the big play on offense. I think these little things are going to determine this game. And, I'd said all year that I felt the home field advantage in the NFC was absolutely crucial. And I still feel that way very much. The line that I saw, the opening line was Seattle minus 3.5. I'll take Seattle to win the game outright, all right? But I'll take San Francisco plus the 3.5. So that's Seattle to win the NFC Championship, but San Francisco plus 3.5. I just think that Seattle defense against Kaepernick, I had such a tough time picking this game because of how San Francisco's offense is playing coming in. But I think Seattle gets a good effort out of that defense. I think the crowd plays a huge factor in this game, and I like Seattle to advance. It doesn't take away from what I feel about San Francisco because, again, you're splitting hairs with these 2 teams. Best 2 teams in football in my mind. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter as well. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Guys, I preview every game every week, recap every game every week, cover the NFL draft, also cover the entire NFL offseason. So be sure to subscribe to my channel here. It's free. Thanks again for listening, and have a great night.